Hello, my name is Craig and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about something that is an often neglected part of guitar care, and that is the guitar strings replacement. The first question being is, why should we change these guitar strings? We're happy that it's going, they're not broken. Now the main reason for changing your strings is basically so that your guitar sounds better. And when it sounds better, you tend to play better. So why do strings that have been on your guitar for a lengthy period of time not sound as good as they may have been new? There are a couple of reasons for that. One is that your strings, just being exposed to the atmosphere, are going to be exposed to oxygen, and oxygen is an oxidant, and it will cause corrosion of those strings. So even if it's stored in a case, the strings are still going to corrode over time because they are always exposed to oxygen, and that will change the tone of your strings. So that's one reason. The second reason is that when you're playing your guitar and you have your fingers on the fretboard and on the strings, your fingers have a lot of oils and water, especially salty type of water, which is going to also cause a oxidation reduction reaction or redox reaction. And over time, it's also going to cause corrosion of the strings, as well as a build-up of all sorts of gunk that's on your fingers. And that gunk will also attract bacteria, which will cause other things to change, and the strings are going to be, after a period of time, are not going to be very nice as far as tone-wise goes. Now, I know that there are some guitarists who don't change the strings and they like it that way, and that is a very small proportion, I would say, of guitar players. So I want to we'll just play something simple before I change these strings. These strings have been on for about a month. For me, that's a pretty long time. Some people will think that playing one set on a guitar, an hour at a concert, is a long period of time, and they'll change it after every set. I'm not like that, but certainly a month is a long period of time for me. So we'll play a few notes beforehand, before I change the guitar strings, and then we'll hopefully play the same thing afterwards, and we'll see if we can hear a difference. Now, some people say things like changing the saddle, the pins, the nut on the guitar is going to make a difference to the sound. Yes, very slight, but most people won't even notice those differences. But guitar strings, changing them does make a difference, and the type of strings you use makes a big difference as well. Now, when you take the string off and remove the bridge pin, make sure you return that bridge pin into its position that you got it from, because each of those bridge pins will be slightly different diameter to the other ones, and they will work better for one hole than they will for another one. So try and keep them consistent and put them back in where you got them after you take out each string. Now, once you have taken all the strings off there, made sure that you put the bridge pins back in the correct position, you now have access to clean this and give the guitar a bit of a polish now. It's a good time to do that. You can have access to this part here, which you couldn't before, up at the headstock as well, where the strings were. you couldn't get through to very well. So you can clean that. But the most important part, as I said, is to actually clean our nice fretboard. This is a Granadillo fretboard. I quite like it. It's pretty good. It's working out quite well. It's a very hard wood, but it's working well. So just clean these areas up at the headstock. Now, if you have one of my guitars that is a nitro finish, you could probably use warm water and a microfiber cloth, which would be fine for that. Otherwise, you can use polishes as well, again probably with a microfiber cloth. Now, to clean the fretboard, probably the best thing that I've found to use is these little dishwashing pads, scouring pads. And on here, I can see quite a bit of dirt in some places around here, around there. It will do a pretty good job of doing that, and also clean the frets as well. So just do this firstly. Now I can see the difference already in the frets just on using that scouring pad. Now, to make sure we get the actual fretboard, not just the frets, we've got to go through and do each of these. Give them a good cleaning. Now, to condition the fretboard, I use this feed and wax wood polish and conditioner, beeswax and orange oil. I've used this for probably 4 or 5 years, and I found it to be quite good. I've tried a lot of other things as well, but this one seems to be quite good. This is a larger bottle, I guess, 8 fluid ounces, 236 mils, and I've probably used it on about 40 guitars when I set them up originally, and also, of course, went for maintenance of guitars as well. So we're probably looking at about 60 times, and I've only used 2/3 of a bottle, maybe a little bit less than that. But it lasts a very long time. So I only need a very small bottle. I don't know if there are different sizes or not. All I do, give it a bit of a shake. And when it starts to come out, just dip it a few times. A few drops around there. Not putting a whole lot on. Now just use a paper towel and rub that in. And I let it settle for, I think it's about 10 minutes or so. Now, then you might have to apply another coat if yours is a particularly dried out fretboard, but most of mine, I think it works quite well with just one coat. After about 10 minutes, we just wipe over any excess material with another paper towel. And we're now ready to put the strings back on. I normally put the outside strings on first, then go inwards. So put the two E strings on, etc. Hopefully you can see that little hole there. I will, about 2 centimeters or so from the end of it, I will bend it, a little kink in that. So this section here with the hole going that way, we put it in and we use our bridge pin to just gently ease it down into its position. And that should be it. Now I have here a piece of Sitka spruce that's equivalent of a spruce top and a bridge plate underneath that would normally occur there. And what we want to do is have a look at our little bit of a string with a kink in it. We want to feed it in like that. Get our bridge pin. And it fits in like so. Add a little bit of tension. If we have a look underneath now, hopefully you can see that ring is against the bridge pin. It's actually being held in place by the Sitka spruce here. Let me put a bit of tension on there. It's pressing against the Sitka spruce. In this case here it would be a bridge plate if it was on a proper guitar. And that's what holds it in place. And the idea is that if you do it like that all the time, it won't go at different angles and twist about and dig into the wood at different angles, etc. And it also won't damage or do too much damage to the bridge pin, which can be replaced anyway. But it should last quite a long time if you do it like that. And that's the way I've been doing it for many decades now. I watched a D'Addario person doing a little show at a local music shop one time, and he was demonstrating how to put the strings on, etc. And that's what I've used for the last couple of decades. Then now at this end, we know it's going to go on that particular post there. And what I do is I then measure to about the next post along and cut it. So we've got about that length there. Then we feed it through the hole till it just comes out the other side. You can feel it going on the other side there. Try and keep it a little bit taut and just wind it. Hold it with your index finger. It's got to go, we want it to go downwards, not going up past there, but downwards, so that each successive lap of the post will be a little bit further down. And I'm not going to tune it up to its proper frequency yet. I'll go and do the other E string now, and then work backwards, etc., up to the last two up here, last two up the end there. Okay, we've got all our strings on, not tensioned up yet, not tuned up. One of the things I forgot to mention too is that when we are putting our strings on our posts, we're always on this side, from the way we're looking down at this at the moment. These are always going to be wound anti-clockwise. Strings on this side are going to be wound so they're going clockwise, that direction there. So the strings go differently on each side of the guitar. So anti-clockwise on this side, the bass side, and on the treble side we go clockwise when we're winding them up. Now all we do is tune it up. Now if we find that while we're tuning them up and putting some tension on the strings, that one of these bridge pins pops out, it means that we haven't got it quite seated properly. Generally it means though that the string will probably find the right place for it. All we've got to do is put the bridge pin back in and it should be okay, just a little bit more firmly this time. Now once the strings are roughly tensioned to the right tuning, what we have to do now, really there's two things that have to occur. One is that we need to stretch the strings if we want it to accommodate the new tension, and we can just simply pull these strings up a bit, stretch it with your thumb maybe a little bit. It just helps to stretch them out somewhat. Now to keep these strings in best condition, you want to remove some of the oils, etc., and salt water from your fingers that have gone onto the strings. So just get a microfiber cloth and give it a good wipe down after you've used it. And remember to put your guitar away in a case, preferably a humidity controlled case, for optimum life of your guitar. Thank you. I'll see you next time.